Welcome to a new Daily Top AskReddit video. Today's topic:
what does sex feel like from the male's perspective? It's the opposite of doing your taxes. Peak for yourself deductions, credits, write-offs, so much room for creativity. Personally, I like waiting until the last possible moment to file. It's like financial edging. Damn, all this talk gave me a raging tax on. It's so complicated, to be honest, because it's not just about the feeling. The feeling of it is basically just a nice warm wet feeling for a while, which builds up and up and up, followed by 3/4 of a second of intense pleasure when you finally release and come. But there's more than just the feeling. There's a primal urge behind it, a needing to finish, the feeling and happiness, pleasure, lust that comes from visually seeing and feeling an attractive woman's body, or hearing her voice or moans. There's the emotional side to it of feeling closer, bonding more with them. There's also the dirty, kinky side, the novelty aspect, especially if they do something new, or if it's someone new, and the list goes on. And ultimately all those aspects of sex add up to make each experience different. That's why sex with one person can totally suck, and sex with another person can be heaven on earth. So the feeling of sex to me is complicated depending on the context of it. This guy fucks. And fucks the right person for them too. The moment of putting your penis into a warm hole is like a combination of coming out of the snow to a cozy wood fire, getting a 200% raise at work, going down the big hill on a roller coaster, releasing your pee after holding it for 2 hours, tossing a crumpled paper ball into a basket on the other side of the room, taking a big swig of a cold beer after doing yard work all day. The male human experience has evolved to make the act of procreation the absolute peak of accomplishment and pleasure. So, all that. Edit, someone asked for the sensation. Imagine a great fullness building up in your crotch, but not uncomfortable full. Like you worked out the perfect amount and your muscles are swollen and feel tingly and powerful. Taut, strong, euphoric with sensation. Now, imagine the end of mighty yawn, where you feel kinda released and relaxed. Imagine your body starting to become enveloped by that feeling. Starting at the tip of your penis, then legs and everywhere. Then it starts to build an electric charge, soft warm buzz. Your penis is full of hot delicious lightning. God's lightning. I am a god and my penis is his. This is where men begin to panic because you realize you are being pulled into a black hole. Fuck dude. I'm going to come this woman through the fabric of space-time. Then you are on the tightrope of giving yourself to blissful annihilation or trying to claw back and stay hard and full for your partner. Then there are feelings of fear and inadequacy mixed with feelings of pure spectacular bliss. Then, I don't have words for the finished part. You found a way to successfully describe it. Hats off. Hands clapping. Keep that hat on unless you want a messy cleanup and, under certain circumstances, a kid. There is some pleasure with an orgasm, but what I really like about having an orgasm is this feeling of satisfaction that sweeps across my body. It even lasts a little longer than the orgasm itself, and it makes me feel everything is alright. Honestly, that's the best part for me, when one of you rolls off the other and you both just lay there and cuddle contentedly for a while. Sex feels good and all, but that piece afterwards is what really ties me to someone. That's the oxytocin, actually. But dang, does it feel safe and lovely. That's your body physiologically telling you, everything is alright, we've reproduced and the species will survive another generation. A few weeks later your brain goes, oh shit. A nice warm, wet hug of death. Like a warm apple pie. All 30 seconds feels fantastic. No need to brag. Free. Take it or leave it. Like your brain's been taken over by a mind-controlling parasite urging you to get this thing touched and wet. Then as the moment of climax comes, it's like a good sneeze and you come back to your senses. You then look around the room at the destruction you've caused and the mess you've made. Like Bruce Banner after he's became the Hulk. Sleepy time then happens. In all honesty, shagging for a guy isn't that great in my opinion. Your brain just tricks you into thinking it's great. Right after sex, the last thing in the world I want to do is have sex. This is when the mind parasite is gone for half an hour or so. Then it slowly comes back and we are tricked once more. A trick by nature to make us reproduce. Poetic. I feel all of this, but it doesn't feel like sex. Isn't that great, to me? Maybe if we're just talking about the pleasurable sensations, it's really not incredible, except coming. This is why as a guy, I don't really like sex without love, because the love is the best part by far. I didn't feel this way until my current partner. To hell casual sex, being truly in love your partner makes the whole act of sex insanely better than without. It's the best sex I've ever had, and that's an understatement. You're asking Reddit. We're honored you're so confident in us, honestly. TBH on Reddit, you've got a lot of really helpful people or really fucked up people. Just gotta hope you get the right niche LMAO. Like the most important thing in the world until just after you finish. Then it's just shame. Not if it's with someone you really want to be with. Then it's cozy. That's the answer. When my partner and I have finished, we stay in the warm wet hug of death for several minutes because it prolongs the pleasure for both. There's more to sex than the climax. The connection afterwards is a big part of it. Really, I tend to feel like I just won at life after. We only get one orgasm, it only lasts for a few seconds, and we have a refractory period immediately afterwards. Our brains turn it off after we bust, which is why we typically don't want to cuddle. For some of us, the destination is the only thing that matters. For others, the trip is just as important and we will take the long way. Physically, it's like pushing a boulder over a hill. Once it's over the top, gravity takes over and it only lasts a few seconds on the way down and feels uncontrollably good. But we have to put in work to get it up the hill, which feels good, but not as good as letting it roll downhill for those few seconds. +1 for the Sisyphus reference. Better than syphilis, I suppose. Why we typically don't want to cuddle. Speak for yourself, my dude. I'm with you, buddy. After sex cuddles are awesome. Imagine if your clit was inserted into a clit-sized vagina that's wet and warm and you can control the tempo of the thrusts for maximum pleasure. This might be the strangest thing I've written in a while. No, oddly, this is the first one I could fully understand. Laughed out loud at this one, thank you. This explanation clicked for me. Although I think my clit is a lot more sensitive than a penis. If it's not, holy fuck dude, I don't think I'd last a full minute. It has significantly fewer nerve endings, especially if circumcised. But there are different places where they are bundled up, or connect to other sensitive places. The tip is the most clit-like, while the shaft responds better to pressure in the same way the G-spot does, since I guess they both start out as the same tissues initially. Like warm apple pie. We'll just tell your mother that we ate it all. Warm, tingling. No better feeling than that first insertion, penetration. Amen. The first entry is my favorite part, from a lady perspective. The look y'all give on the first full entry is chef kiss. That's the absolute best feeling. Especially when he goes in nice and slow. Warm, slippery with just the right texture and drag. You feel like you're pushing into something made for you. We're sensory animals, so we are taking it all in, usually the highlights, your face, eyes, your curves, or whatever our favorite fixation is. An overwhelming drive to continue thrusting is automatic. It's dizzying, it's a cacophony of stimulation. Someone asked this here 10 years ago when I was still a virgin. I wrote a very descriptive answer and had the most upvotes in the entire thread. It was a total lie, filled with details about women I'd never been with. I just imagined when I hoped it was like, lol. Always found that pretty funny how those Redditors just ate it up. And NND, it's over. The moment you enter a particularly wet and naturally drippy pussy, it feels like a warm cave for the most sensitive part on your body. You just want to live in there. If the good Lord made anything better, he kept it for himself. In my case, and it's different for every man, I am the I prefer having sex than coming type of guy. I really like when it's long, when I can focus on the girl's pleasure. Actually, what gives me the most pleasure is when I can share pleasure with her, when I see and feel her body shaking and thrilling from us making out. That's the true shit. Even when I come, I still want to use my fingers and eat it, lol. My motto is, as long as she wants it, as long as I can, ha ha ha. But every person is different. Bro, write a fan FIC already. I'd read it. I'm somewhat the same on this. My number one rule is, I don't go until she goes, however long that takes. It's worked perfectly fine for me for the last 25 years. And I prefer a lot of foreplay and making her come over and over to me getting my one and done. But that's just me. Yes, exactly. The journey is worth it, especially when you can make them come even more times than they thought they could. That sense of pride in showing someone with patience they can get there. Exclamation mark. I found hope and humanity from this. Much better with foreplay and an emotional connection, but most guys don't seem to know this, which I personally chalk up to masturbation being a bit too easy and focused on the penis, and porn. But otherwise, varies a lot. The sensation is generally focused on the one part of the body. The final release doesn't last so long. As a woman, your acknowledgement of emotional connection enhancing the sex gives me hope. Thanks, folded hands, medium dark skin tone. That's not only enhancing it, that makes it a totally different experience. I think a lot of the people commenting are young. Any male with half a brain eventually realizes how wonderful all of it is with someone you care about. I actually like the rest of it more than my orgasm. Don't get me wrong, the orgasm feels good. A lot of people, especially young people, have sex, not intimacy. Intimacy is a much more potent drug. Sadly, too many men and women think of sex as exchange of orgasms. Instead of two people who care for each other and each person's first motivation is to make their partner feel good, loved, special. When you got that, you never want anything else. Dude, I use Reddit, how do I know? It's, for me, a battle between immersing myself in something amazing and self-control. Of course you're trying to make it as good for the other person as possible, but sometimes you're just hanging on for dear life. The post-nut brain fog is fully real too. I've had partners think I'm completely disinterested in him after, whereas in reality, I'm struggling to form two-syllable words. I once had an intense laughing fit after a particularly strong climax. I tried explaining through tears of laughter that I wasn't laughing at her and that it was one of the best I've ever had. But after 10 minutes of giggling like a loon and barely being able to get up or look her in the eye, she took offense and left. I carried on laughing for about 20 minutes, interspersed with moments of, ah shit. Would have phoned her, but I probably would have burst out laughing again. I'll take the brain fog. I hate it when the guy just gets up right away and starts talking, which can and has happened to me. Like, dude, what were we even doing here? I thought our souls just became one in my crotch.